Welcome to the brief overview presentation for the next few chapters, vitamins, minerals, and water. And we're going to be wrapping up our study of the 6 classes of nutrients by focusing on these categories. This won't cover everything in the individual chapters, nor everything you'll need for the next test, but I'll highlight some important points associated with each. So before we dive in, remember that it's crucial to know the classification of vitamins and minerals, such as whether a vitamin is fat soluble or water soluble, or whether a mineral is major or a trace mineral. You'll also want to be familiar with their roles in the body, their food sources, and what happens with deficiencies and or excesses, and the recommended intakes. Your textbook and its infographics have great summaries for this, so make sure you review those carefully. We'll also be talking about how these relate specifically to sports nutrition. So you probably recall from general nutrition, if you've had that class, that vitamins are essential organic compounds, meaning they contain carbon, and they're needed in very small amounts in our diets to maintain normal body functions, to support growth, and to keep us healthy. Now, to be considered a vitamin, a substance must be something the body cannot make enough of on its own to maintain health. And if it's missing from the diet for some time, deficiency symptoms develop. But these symptoms can be reversed if the vitamin is reintroduced into the diet. Now, while all humans need the same essential vitamins, our individual needs vary based on age, sex, health status, and other factors. And although our bodies can produce a few vitamins in limited amounts, like vitamin A from certain plant pigments, vitamin D from sunlight exposure, vitamin K and biotin from gut bacteria, and niacin from the amino acid tryptophan, most of the vitamins must come from our diet, so make sure you understand that. Now, vitamins are divided into 2 broad categories based on their solubility. There are fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K, which dissolve in fat and are absorbed along with dietary fat. Because they're stored mostly in the liver and fat tissues, they're not easily excreted, so toxicity can be a concern if taken in excess. Conditions, certain medical conditions or medications that affect fat digestion or absorption, such as cystic fibrosis or certain gastrointestinal disorders, can also interfere with their absorption. Now recall that water-soluble vitamins, which include the 8 B vitamins, those are thiamine, riboflavin, niacin, pantothenic acid, biotin, B6, folate, and B12, plus vitamin C, dissolve in water and are transported to the liver and then distributed to tissues. Since they're not stored in large amounts, excess water-soluble vitamins are typically excreted in urine when tissue saturation occurs. Now, let's take a look from the sports nutrition perspective. Athletes often have increased needs for some vitamins due to higher energy metabolism and training stress. So, for example, B vitamins are vital coenzymes in energy metabolism. So, endurance athletes may require more to support sustained energy production. Antioxidant vitamins like A, C, and E help protect cells from oxidative stress caused by increased free radical production during exercise. And eating a diet rich in antioxidant-containing foods is generally preferred over supplements, which can sometimes interfere with training adaptations. Now, vitamin D is essential for bone health, immune function, and muscle performance. Athletes training mostly indoors or living in regions with limited sunlight should monitor their vitamin D status to avoid deficiencies. Water, moving on, makes up about 50 to 70% of our body weight and is absolutely essential for life. We lose water constantly through respiration, sweating, and excretion, so we need to keep replenishing it all the time. Water is often called the universal solvent because it dissolves many substances. This property makes water ideal for transporting nutrients and wastes and facilitating the chemical reactions that make our metabolism possible. Now, water also holds heat, helping regulate our body temperature. When we overheat, we sweat. And as sweat evaporates from the skin, it removes heat. This process is called evaporative cooling. Now, our bodies contain many water-based fluids beyond just sweat and urine. For instance, saliva lubricates food for swallowing, mucus protects the digestive and respiratory tracts, and fluids in joints, the brain, and even around a fetus during pregnancy all rely on water. Now, from a sports nutrition standpoint, hydration is absolutely critical. Even mild dehydration, as little as 2% loss of body weight from water, can impair cognitive function, endurance, and strength. Athletes lose both water and electrolytes, primarily sodium, potassium, and chloride, through their sweat. And sweat rates and electrolyte losses vary individually, so keep that in mind. Hydration strategies should be tailored to the specific individual. Proper hydration includes starting exercise well hydrated, drinking fluids during prolonged activity, and rehydrating fully after exercise. Now, this is an interesting concept, and make sure you understand it. Overhydration with plain water during endurance events can cause a condition called hyponatremia or hyponatremia, a dangerous dilution of blood sodium. So it's important to replace electrolytes as well. So believe it or not, you can consume too much water. It can be very dangerous. So moving on to minerals. Unlike vitamins, just keep in mind minerals are inorganic elements, meaning they don't contain carbon. Minerals play vital roles in our bodies, though. They support chemical reactions, they form structures like bones and teeth, and help regulate fluids and your muscle contractions. One important concept to understand and remember is bioavailability. You probably have studied this before, but just to review, this is how much of the ingested mineral can actually be absorbed and used by the body. Bioavailability can be affected by lots of things, from things like compounds in foods, like oxalic acid in spinach, which binds calcium, or phytic acid in high fiber diets, which can reduce iron and zinc absorption. Other factors like age, gender, genetics, nutritional status, medications, and your overall diet can also influence mineral absorption. Now, remember that minerals are classified based on the amounts the body requires. Major minerals are needed in amounts greater than 100 milligrams per day, and these include calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, sulfur, sodium, potassium, and chloride. Trace minerals are different because they're required in smaller amounts, less than 100 milligrams per day, but are no less important. These include iron, zinc, copper, iodine, selenium, molybdenum, fluoride, manganese, and chromium. So let's take a look at the sports nutrition perspective. There again are your major and trace minerals. From a sports nutrition perspective, calcium is crucial for bone health and reducing stress fracture risk, especially important for athletes in high-impact sports and for female athletes. Iron supports oxygen transport through hemoglobin and myoglobin. Endurance athletes, particularly females, are at higher risk for iron deficiency anemia, which can impair performance and recovery, and that's explained more in your textbook. Sodium is the main electrolyte lost in sweat and is essential for fluid balance, nerve function, and muscle contraction. Replacing sodium during long or intense workouts can help prevent cramping and hyponatremia. Magnesium supports muscle function and energy production. Low magnesium may contribute to muscle cramps and fatigue. And zinc supports immune function, which can be challenged by intense training, aiding recovery and reducing illness risk. Now, other trace minerals like selenium and chromium do play roles in antioxidant defense and glucose metabolism, which can also affect your performance and also your recovery. Athletes should be cautious, however, with supplements because high intakes of one mineral may interfere with the absorption of others. For example, excess calcium can reduce iron absorption. A balanced, food first approach is definitely always best. Now, I know this was very quick, but I just wanted to give a brief overview. So, to summarize, vitamins, water, and minerals are essential nutrients with critical roles in health and athletic performance. Remember that athletes may have slightly increased needs for some vitamins and minerals due to greater energy demands, training stress, and fluid losses. Proper hydration, including electrolyte balance, is fundamental to performance and safety. A well-rounded diet that meets energy needs and includes a variety of nutrient-dense foods usually supports adequate intake of vitamins and minerals. And finally, individualized nutrition strategies can help optimize performance, recovery, and long-term health. Now, this does conclude the presentation, so please make sure you review the textbook infographics, as I mentioned earlier, and the detailed sections on each vitamin and mineral so that you're comfortable with classifications, the food sources for these, and the effects of deficiencies and excesses, with particular focus on athlete and athlete needs. So if you have any questions or want me to clarify anything, feel free to ask. I look forward to diving into these topics a little deeper over the next few weeks.